Hello, YouTube. It's been a minute. Uh, gonna try to make a little bit of a primer video and catch up video for those of you that are still following along on the channel and the build. Um, it's been a long time since I made a video. I think the last one was when the transmission started acting up on track, and that was what ended last track season. Was putting the car down because I didn't want to damage that transmission any more than it already was. And making the rebuild cost higher than it even was, which was still pretty high. Um, so the backdrop for this video is kind of something that spawned out of that process at the end of the season last year. I had a plan that a lot of people knew about, that I wanted to eventually LS swap the car. And so when the gearbox started acting up at the end of last year, my thought process was, number one, I don't want to try to push it and do more damage to the gearbox. But number two, I don't want to push it while the gearbox is damaged and end up breaking the engine, because the engine value was at its highest as it was going to be at that time when the gearbox was broken. So at that point, after about a month of kvetching about it, I made the decision to put the car on stands, get the motor and the gearbox taken out of it, and sell the engine as the kickoff funds that I needed to get down the path that I'm going now. So you can see we've made some progress towards that. The engine is mocked in the car. It's in and mounted under all the way, all of the mounts that it needs to be hanging on its own weight. But we've still got some more work to do. So I just wanted to kind of give you that background on, the what's happened since the last time I saw you guys, and then talk kind of specifically to the reason that I'm LS swapping it. There's, that's kind of a divisive thing. It's not really for me because this is a fun car. So I don't really give a shit about, the what other people would value it at, or whether I'm ruining it or making it great or whatever. I'm trying to build my version of the perfect 996. And to kick off the reasons why I'm swapping it, the M96 doesn't power my version of the best 996. And it certainly doesn't power my version of it. As I started building this car with a focus more on being able to have a really capable track car, I wanted to do so with a couple tenets in mind that I really tried to adhere to, and that was, I want a car that is serviceable, and I want one where the cost to operate is relatively low. And having a car that's serviceable will mean you'll service it more. If things are a pain in the ass to do, you're less likely to do them. So when I have the opportunity to really build this the way that I want to build it in a way that enables me to service it easily, so that I'll do it. Secondly, with regards to the cost to operate, the M96 motor was really reliable for me. But if you look at the requirements for investment, if you're going to rebuild that, if the motor is damaged, it's significant. It's more than I paid for the price of the car. And the real kicker for me isn't so much the money, it's the performance for the money. So, it's not an acceptable solution to me for a track car to invest 30 or 35 or $40,000 on an engine that makes 350 wheel horsepower. That's not how I can make the best 996 that I can. And so the LS option corrects that. The entry price for the engines is significantly lower, even built up to a pretty high track spec, significantly lower. If you have an engine that needs to be rebuilt, not only are there a lot of people, including a lot of DIY guys, that can do that rebuild, but the cost and the aftermarket support to put you in a position to do an effective rebuild is just infinitely higher than it is with an M96. So although, you know, the M96 has some good traits, I'd say really the way it sounds is probably the best one. I don't think that there's anything that it does well enough to justify the cost for a car that's being built for a purpose, and that purpose being to be effective on track. And that's just the way that I saw it. So I know a lot of people will disagree with it. You know, this is perfectly fine. I'm a tinkerer and I love this chassis. I think really the motor lets the chassis down, and it's possible to build a M9 or a 996 track car that will absolutely slay, and you don't need to start with a GT3 or a turbo to get there. But I don't think if you don't start with a GT3 or a turbo that you get there and with an M96 motor. So other people will prove me wrong, and they're better drivers, so they get more out of it, and that's all cool. This is the way that I'm doing it to make my perfect version of a 996 track car. So I hope some people are interested and open-minded enough to be like, hey, let's see how it shakes out, to before judging a firm opinion that I'm an idiot. But if you do, I don't really give a shit, so that's okay too. So if people that are interested want to let me know, let me know what you're interested in specifically as I go forward. I'm happy to share some more videos, maybe. Probably not like wrenching videos because I'm terrible at picking up a camera while I'm trying to accomplish anything. But at least some talking videos here and there explaining some more details into what's going into the car. So that's the YouTube catch up. And for those of you that are watching that have watched the channel for a long time, thank you. I appreciate it. And I hope that you're not aghast at the direction that the car is going, or at least if you are, you give it a little bit before you decide that you hate it. All right, that's it. Thanks a lot.